I think Suraj captured my speaking notes. Honorable Minister Ambachan, Honorable Minister Stacey Rupnarayan, Honorable Ministers in the audience who are here with us, Dr. Carson Charles, Honorable Dr. Monilal, and of course our friends from OAS. Put your hands together as we congratulate OAS for bringing in this project. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, constituents of Oropouche East, Oropouche West, and I hope some from my own constituency of Siparia. All of you from the South, can we hear you? Good evening to you. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it was just about over 3 years ago, Dr. Charles, that we were gathered somewhere on the side. Now it's so different from 3.5 years ago, when we turned the sod to begin this extension of this highway, which will take us into Point 14. So that was what, about 3 years, January 2011? 2011. Yeah, so over 3 years. And OAS has said to me that they will bring in a lot of the work on this highway. They will complete, he says, by next year. I will be very surprised. I want to be surprised. Please bring in the project. Bring in more of it, you all agree? Let's get more of the highway built, get a lot of it done. And so I am very, very happy this evening to participate in the opening of this interchange, because once we open the Golconda to Debe leg of the highway, the interchange produced on evenings, mornings, right here, tremendous traffic bottleneck. So you will actually get onto this piece from Golconda, go into Debe. In a few minutes, you'll be down in Debe. And for me, living parallel on the Philippine side, I'll be home from this end to there in a matter of minutes. And I see some people are saying I'm spending more time at home. And I'm very grateful for this leg of the highway, because when I finish work in Port of Spain, no matter how late it is, because I know that I can get home in a shorter space of time, I do try to spend more time at home after work with my family. Indeed, I saw a blog today saying that I have now set up a cabinet meeting room in South because I don't want to take the long drive into Port of Spain. That's not why we did it. And I lead off from that because we talk about development in the north, in the south, in the east, and in the west. And so upstairs of the teaching hospital, there is a boardroom for the Southwest Regional Health Authority. And in the same way that cabinet ministers journey into Port of Spain on a Thursday for cabinet meetings, I see no reason why the second city of our country, San Fernando, should not also host cabinet meetings. And that is one of the reasons why we try to hold at least one cabinet meeting in San Fernando. And yes, tomorrow, Thursday being the public holiday, all these ministers will have to journey from wherever they are to San Fernando at the teaching hospital, where we'll host our cabinet meeting, our weekly cabinet meeting. And so, with the completion of this interchange, the traffic situation will definitely be improved. Stacey told you earlier, she spent 45 minutes from Debe, from Pinal to Debe, from Batcha, Pinal to Debe, and then a few minutes to get here on the highway itself. With the interchange, of course, that traffic is going to be eased. And OAS and Dr. Charles and Dr. Rambachan have all told me and Stacey that we will be opening the Debe interchange by the end of the year. This year? Yes? And from Debe, I'm told the other leg from Debe to Pinal is well underway. Construction works there. What percentage have we reached, Dr. Charles, from Debe to Pinal? The leg, that leg. June next year, Debe to Pinal. And then we are also working from Point 14, coming back this way into Faizabad. So work is taking place at both ends, and the two shall meet one day soon, we hope, in the new year. So we look forward to the completion of that Debe interchange later this year. We look forward to the segment Pinal, Debe to Pinal, Pinal to Siparia, Siparia to Faizabad to join at Mondesi. Now, people keep talking about Pinal, Debe, Siparia. And they identify those areas as saying they are my constituency. Yes, I'm proud of that. They are parts of it. I'm proud. But they keep forgetting that this highway will also service from Sapare. You have Santa Flora, you have Palaseco, Los Bajo, Losiro. All those areas in the southwest will be opened up when this gateway, as Dr. Charles has called it, this gateway to the southwest peninsula is completed. This gateway is completed and the rest of the highway. So as we progress on this project, there are still those who want this highway stopped, at least the segment to Mondesi. And this in spite of the orders of the High Court and the Court of Appeal. I want to remind you that on 3 separate occasions, the court refused to grant a stop order on that segment of the highway. And so I think as a society, as a nation, as a country, must be prepared to accept the rule of law. If you fail to accept the rule of law, it will be chaos and anarchy. Each individual wants things their own way. When there is a dispute in days of old, they will pick up swords and axes, battle axes, and fight each other man to man, men to men. And then when they invented the gunpowder, they will take guns and cannons. And now in the nuclear age, when there is a war, they come with nuclear power. But in a civilized, democratic society with obeying of the rule of law, when there is a dispute, the arbitrator is the court, the judiciary. And therefore we must be bound, otherwise it will be your strength against my strength. And a society that wants to live on brute force will descend into nothing and into chaos. And so I'm saying on 3 occasions, the Court of Trinidad and Tobago, the High Court, and then the Court of Appeal refused to grant an order to stop the highway. And those who could not get the court to get what they want are now using extrajudicial means to try to get what they want. But I say God is always great. We put our faith in the rule of law and in God, and justice will be done. When this matter was taken to the court, I want to quote the words of the learned judge in the hearing and the ruling of April 7th, 2014, and I quote, "In considering the balance of justice, the granting of an order to stop the highway to secure a right of review must be balanced against the tremendous cost that the taxpayer has already borne and the stupendous cost that he or she will bear as a result of this grant." I continue the words of the learned judge, and I quote, "To this must be added the continued burden on the oppressive traffic faced by thousands of motorists." I continue from the judge's decision. "I must bear in mind as well that the review sought to be protected by this order is not guaranteed to result in any substantial design alteration, and at least on the basis of Dr. Armstrong's report is unlikely to lead to a reroute of the highway." I quote these words from you, from the learned judge, when he ruled against those persons who wanted you to undergo and to continue to undergo hardship on our roads. It is interesting that they no longer object to the construction of the Debe to Pinal segment of the highway. Beyond this segment, I say there are no wetlands. And as a result, the opposition to the segment from Pinal to Mondesi baffles me. There are no wetlands. Indeed, aerial shots will show that the Debe to Pinal segment is passing through already built-up areas, Pinal, Superior, Faizabad. Those areas are where people live, not the swampland, not the wetlands. It is because of the choice of this alignment, which connects the towns of Debe, Pinal, Superior, and Faizabad, that the acquisition of properties became necessary. As I understand it, the process of acquisition is being achieved through private treaty negotiations, and no one has been forced out of their homes. The process may have taken a bit longer, but it is the preferred way of this government. Resorting to the Commission of Valuations will always be a last resort. In addition, as you are probably aware, rental accommodation for those whose properties have been acquired is being provided for at least 6 months so that we will have an easy transition. The lands at Picton and Pittymon are fully developed residential lots with provision for all amenities. Further to this, lands have been reserved for social and cultural purposes, including recreation grounds, schools, and religious institutions. And so, contrary to the outcry from certain individuals, the social impacts have not been ignored. And in fact, a social impact study utilizing the World Bank objectives was done to mitigate the social impact. In the execution of this contract, I am pleased to see the level of local input, including the ratio of local to foreign personnel employed. I am told that 91% of the employees are locals. Oh yes, thank you very much for that. Further, with many of our technical and engineering personnel employed on the project, the gain to the country through the transfer of technology will be significant. Thus far, I am told over 600 local firms have been supplying goods and services to the main contractor, OAS. Challenges we faced many. This is a very complex project, perhaps one of the largest of its kind in our country, which has had its fair share of challenges as is expected with projects like these. I'll give you some examples. The project involved the capping of oil wells. In the Guapo area alone, some 39 wells have been capped to facilitate construction. It involves the removal of pipelines belonging to Petrotrin. Almost 91,000 feet of lines, these are pipelines of Petrotrin, oil lines, must be relocated. It involves technology to build a highway across the major gas lines belonging to BP and NGC, and to do so as to facilitate ease in repairs to those segments of the gas lines should it become necessary. Another challenge was in relocating wasser lines. I'm happy to say these challenges, including the relocation of the wasser lines, electricity towers, this has been achieved with great success and through collaboration between the affected stakeholders. It is refreshing to see how well the different agencies have been working together in the interest of the national good. I commend this attitude of collaboration. Developments like this one will always involve some level of displacement. I want to take this opportunity to thank all those who have placed the public good above their own self-interest. That is indeed an expression of citizenship which must be recognized. The completion of this highway will bring tremendous economic and social gains to the Southwest Peninsula. You have seen the tremendous development in the Northwest Peninsula, and I see no reason why the Southwest Peninsula should not also benefit from development. This area has been one of the neglected areas of our country in terms of development. Part of it has to do with the time it takes to get from San Fernando to Point Fortin. With this highway, government's thrust to bring more industries as well as tourism projects to this area will gain momentum. The quality of life as a whole is destined to be improved as a result of this project. Within recent times, you would have seen that the stated objective of rural development and decentralization has been gaining momentum. The Galeota Port Facilities Surge mentioned recently commissioned. The construction of the hospitals to be done in Point Fortin and Arima, and the upgrade of the Sani Grande Hospital. The construction of a children's hospital in Cuba, which will open in the new year. All these and many more. Valencia Bypass Road, Diego Martin Expansion Project. All over this country, if you have eyes to see, you will see there is development taking place in every sector, in every area. All of this is meant to achieve greater geographic balance in terms of development, as well as to decentralize government services to bring them closer to people. As I close, I say the construction of this highway will also facilitate the availability of lands for building much needed affordable housing for citizens, since large acreages of land will now become available and accessible. With government's intention of encouraging private entrepreneurs to engage in partnerships with the agency to construct houses, a new wave of economic activity will be initiated with tremendous gains for persons in the areas where the highway passes. With the construction, the multiplier effect in terms of economic activities will take place. Already, we have managed to reverse the decline in GDP, and we have returned our country to positive growth. Everywhere you go in Trinidad and Tobago, you see new businesses being opened, and consumer spending is evident. There is a new level of confidence in citizens about the future, and you can see this being expressed, for example, by the investments in housing and, of course, in motor vehicles. I think we've had the most motor vehicles on the road since we became an independent nation, our own nation. And that is a clear sign that people do have extra money in their pockets, so that they're able, when they have food, clothing, and shelter, to purchase a vehicle. It is clear that our policies have begun to bear fruit. This has come about as a result of careful planning and efficiency and management of the economy. It has also been possible because of the commitment of the business sector to make investments and sustain the levels of employment of our workers in their enterprises. The government appreciates this, and we will continue to create a facilitating environment for business growth. And today, my permanent secretary, who is head of the public service, Permanent Secretary Reynald Cooper, sent me a text message, which was also repeated by Dr. Tiwari, that today Trinidad and Tobago has been awarded the most prestigious Commonwealth Medal of Award. Dr. Tiwari, for a unit in the Office of the Prime Minister, the Monitoring and Evaluation Unit in the Office of the Prime Minister has won the award out of 52 Commonwealth nations. We deserve a round of applause. Another first for Trinidad and Tobago, another recognition of our role locally, regionally, and internationally. You will recall before I went off to New York for the United Nations General Assembly, some weeks prior to that, I had written to the Secretary General of the CARICOM, calling upon him as the Secretariat to liaise with the other heads of the CARICOM for us to convene, as a matter of emergency, meetings of the CARICOM heads, or those in charge of the health sector, with respect to the CHIKV and with respect to Ebola. That meeting did not take place. However, when we went to the United Nations, we co-sponsored the UN resolution on Ebola and the fight against Ebola, as we did also in the fight against terrorism. I am happy to report today that the CARICOM Secretary General has advised that the CARICOM high-level meeting of health officials will take place in Trinidad and Tobago at the earliest opportunity in the coming week. So that too is another first and plus for us, that we have led the way in that fight, and will continue to work with our CARICOM neighbors. So I say locally, regionally, and internationally, Trinidad and Tobago has placed itself on the world map, has placed itself amongst bigger nations, larger nations, more prosperous nations. But we do have a tremendous creativity, and what Dr. Tiwari likes to tell me about, and has shown it, innovation. The talent of the people of Trinidad and Tobago is boundless. And therefore, in my respectful view, the greatest resource of our nation is our human resource. Today I see you here, I congratulate you, and I thank you all very much. I want to thank all those who have worked on this project as we celebrate its opening of the interchange here, as a symbol of further progress, not only of the highway, but of our commitment to a better quality of life and a better country as a whole. Let me again congratulate OAS, AECOM, and NIDCO, and in particular in NIDCO, the entire board of NIDCO. I think I see Dr. Sweet is here with us. Dr. Charles, who works with NIDCO as president of NIDCO. I really want to commend Dr. Carson Charles. I just said to him when I arrived, I said, Carson, I think you have talked more than you've probably spoken in your entire life within the last several weeks, because he's been having all these meetings and he's given us all the information about the highway, about the work that was done, about the study of the Armstrong report, about recommendations from that Armstrong report that Carson Charles, NIDCO, and the officials, OAS, AECOM, they took on board many of the recommendations of the Armstrong report. And when they say some are saying that we did not consider that report. That is not true. There are so many other facts that are just not true about this highway. And I think the story is only now really being told more frequently. I want to congratulate again Dr. Charles for leading that charge and leading that front in bringing information where there was misinformation. I want to congratulate Minister Stacey Rupnarine, who has also been a strong advocate for the highway and has been giving us information on this highway. And Dr. Ramachan for leading the charge as well in the construction works to get the project going, to get it off the ground. As you know, Dr. Ramachan is a person, I don't think he ever sleeps. He is on the job, on the move at all points in time. Dr. Ramachan, Minister, I thank you very, very much. And as I thank all these officials, I also want to thank the workers, all those who have worked to make this interchange, to make this highway possible. As you said, 91% local employment. Can we give all the workers of Trinidad and Tobago a word of thanks? And as we do that, I take this opportunity to plead with the drivers to use this interchange and the highway wisely. It was built for your comfort and safety. Please continue to drive with safety in mind. As I close where I began, when I said I remember in 2011, when we were gathered here, some of us, many of us who are here now, were then at that same time at that place when we turned the sod for this extension of the highway. And Stacey said she remembers the date very, very, very well. And Minister Rupnarine says she remembers that date very well, because I had turned to her whilst we were sitting at the table, and I asked her, are you prepared to be the minister in the Ministry of Works? And she said yes. And when I stood up to speak, I announced that Stacey Rupnarine would join the Ministry of Works as a minister. So she's here. She was here at the start when we turned the sod, and she's here with us again today as we commission this interchange. So may God continue to bless each and every one of you. May God continue to bless your families, and may God continue to bless the very great nation, Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you all very, very much.
Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar delivering the feature address here at the official opening of the Golconda Interchange. This is live coverage on CTV and Talk City 91.1 FM. Prime Minister, of course, took time to explain the process and hours. Members of the public will have an opportunity to, in fact, use this interchange if you're heading north and south into Debe or Port of Spain. So all of that is happening. The Prime Minister is making her way now to have the official ribbon cutting. She is flanked by the Justice Minister, the Minister of Local Government. We have Neela Khan also there with the Prime Minister, Stacey Rupnarine also.